Welcome, guys, to Metallarian Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Lucifer's Child, this new album, The Illuminant, and more things relating to the metal world in general. So we started by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last couple of years? Because your previous album, The Order, was released in 2018, and now, like 6 years, more than 6 years later, we have this new album.
Our current state is in the rehearsal room, getting ready, because very soon we will start performing and presenting the Illuminant from 17th of April, around this Easter time. We start touring and presenting our new album. As you said, we had a pretty quite big gap since The Order was released. And this is something that didn't happen on purpose. It happened unexpectedly, but we never want to force creativity. We never want to force just to put out an album that we don't believe in that album. We need to take our time, make what's best for us, make the best music possible, and then put it out and share it with our audience.
Okay. So, and this topic, one thing that I denoted with your full discography is that you all the time use the word the weekend, the order. Okay, and that's for when you hear for the first, when you saw in the first time in the first album, that's completely normal. But when you see in the three albums, this is on purpose. So for you, what is the meaning that each album from Lucifer's Child has this work, the weekend, the order, the illuminant?
It's a trilogy.
Oh.
It's a trilogy. So the concept, each album is it's an intro. It's a concept. It's a concept to begin with. From the weekend, from becoming the weekend, you enter the order, and through the order and knowledge, you become the illuminant. This is a very, I put this in very simple words, in childish words, so someone who reads it understands the main concept of how the themes go on. So exactly as you say, it's a concept album. The Illuminant closes the part of the three, of the triangle, of the Lucifer's Child, of the first three albums, and it completes the concept and finalizes the concept of this trinity.
Oh, so you can see as chapters, like chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. It's like that also for the people.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting about this. Now, talking about now this for this new album. So, in this topic that you are talking about, the trilogy. So, what are the themes involved or the subjects involved on this trilogy? And is there a main character for this trilogy? Because I checking here the lyrics when I'm all the time curious to read more about this, and you touch on the occultism, the Luciferianism, this kind of topic. So, and
exactly.
into this trilogy, do you have any main character to supposedly? Well, that is a concept album because there's a trilogy.
Yes, there is no main character. There is the main concept. The main concept of the lyrical content of the band is Luciferianism, as you said. But the main theme is left-hand path. All of our lyrics are not let's say descriptions, but they are more a metaphorical way of our personal experiences, of practices and real life experiences. When I'm saying real life, I don't mean only practices of the occult. I mean real life circumstances that brought us and in the position to fight with our inner demons, to struggle and to accept life as it is and duel and all this process. So it's the lyrical content of all those three albums is our personal life experiences that are metaphored on paper as a poem, as a storytelling, based on our ideology, on the left-hand path, on the occultism and Luciferianism. Saying this, each album describes a different phase of this concept with different variations. The weekend is a more, let's say, outspoken. It's a first introduction, and more open lyrically, more simple lyrically, and more amateur, I would say, because we were younger, and we were still crafting the ways that we want to deliver what we think and put into paper. The Order is a more inside, a more inner, let's say, lyrically content album, and the Illuminant is a complete dissolution of the previous both and creation of the new, which is actually the combination of the Wiccan and the Order, let's say, lyrically. This is how I say it.
Okay, okay. So now one thing about captured my attention about your answer is because you're speaking about Luciferism, personal experience, inner struggles. That's completely normal because it's your band. You create the lyrics for these kind of topics. But with these themes related, I remember that you spoke with a lot of a few musicians well known in the black metal. One of them is the Magus. And he provided me, I remember that he told me at that moment that the black metal in general need to be satanic, need to be right about these kind of things, satanic of these kind of topics. So, and usually the other people's, I spoke with the Nicholas from Shining, and he provided me the information that the black metal always need to be aggressive, so like criminal, this kind of stuff, but because that is the real essence for black metal. So as into you are on this concept of the black metal, for you, what is the correct conception that the black metal need to have? Will be a criminal, will be satanist, because there's another bands now with this new movement that are eco-invariant, ambientalist. I don't know. There is a new movement in the black metal that is not longer anymore belongs to the satanist or the criminal stuff into the black
I
metal.
see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
So you can describe black metal like you can describe the chaos. You can describe the feelings that somebody have for that music or what can be. It's just
it's dark.
Yeah.
Let's say extreme and dark. Satanism and satanic is something very personal that differs from how each of us understands it and receives it. Of course, criminal and being extreme, violent, and satanic, and in a more brutal way. I have seen many bands abusing these words and making it mostly just to get more attraction, get more attention, And I see that as a cheap way of pulling the attention. The strongest minds in occultism and the left-hand path I have met in my life, who some of them are also musicians. They keep it very, very deep inside themselves and their ideas and their philosophy, and they have music to expose their music and some meaningful quotes. Other than that, I would agree with Magus and Nicholas that metal is not a safe, and black metal is not a safe space, is an extreme space with unlimited options, with no boundaries, a completely free music to create whatever you wish, being violent, being extreme, being aggressive, and in general, being dark, truly dark.
Okay, interesting about this. So I know what's your opinion about, guys, about now this movement into the black metal, because there is no more aggressive into the black metal. Now it's more soft black metal. As you can see, one of the bands like Gaerea from Portugal selling Christmas balls, some Christmas ball. Now the black metal in general is more mainstream. It's not like at the mid of 90s, or when Battery came up with their album. It was different at that moment. So, but now black metal is more mainstream. There is more mask. There is more people cover their faces with their hands. There's a lot with this. So, what's your opinion about now the black metal turn with a more mainstream stuff, not like it was in the 90s?
Well, to be honest, everybody does what he does and what he loves to do. I mean, total respect for all the bands. I mean, there's no problem with doing whatever you like. That's no problem. Metal evolves. Metal will never be as it was in the 90s. It was a different era. It will never come back to this phase, to this situation. As we have evolved as human beings, our music has evolved, black metal has evolved, and many things have been presented. So I won't say if I agree, if I like it or not. I say I stay true to the idols. We stay true to the idols and the people that inspired us. We try to stick to our roots. We try to respect our roots. And for Lucifer Child, it's important to preserve the character. We are down to earth, respect for black metal, respect for our history. And we try to mimic Venom, Celtic Frost, Bathory. These are our teachers. This is how we want to evolve as a band. There is no problem with having different opinions, but we have our own way of respecting the ancients, and this is how we want to move according to these paths.
Okay. Now returning to the Lucifer Child's discography. In your first album, it was a different, and in the weekend, it was a different cover painter. Then, since your next two albums, you used Daniel Balenieri in this two cover art.
Valeriani, yes.
Valeriani, sorry, Valeriani.
Yes.
So, and in this one, so why do you select this artist when we have a lot more artists in here? What's special to select this Daniel Valenieri to create the cover art for the last two albums, and especially in the concept of the albums, because you said it's a trilogy. There is involved a lot of concept.
Well, Daniel is like if there was a painter who was playing in the band, an artist, it would be him. This is how I feel about it. He understands the concept. He's incredible of how much he understands all the details that we have in mind, and he puts it on paper. We stood very lucky with that. We never expected to have this both artworks being painted by the same artist. First album was made by our bass player, by a previous member, and we were very scared of trying to work with an external artist, someone outside the band. And as soon as we started working on the We Order cover, it was love at first sight. Man, he is the eyes and the hands of the band. He transposes the directions you give him in the best possible way. And he has an amazing aesthetic. He's a black metal guy. He's a black metal fan. He loves the band. We love him too. And I believe this cooperation is at the best possible cooperation we could have with an external.
The colors that he works with, it's like music notes for us.
Yes.
The paintings are really nice, and the colors is amazing. It's more real. It's like our music,
It fits with the music.
Yeah, it fits a lot. Valeriani is for us.
It's like the extra member. Yeah, the image. Just the extra member.
Okay, I understand about this. Now, other concept in this situation, that is, I think the next question will be a difficult one. So, because usually, as you said, George, this is a trilogy. This is a concept with this trilogy. This connected all the lyrics, the music, etc. But when this is connected, so do you think that this last album is your best work to date? Because all three albums belongs to each one. So for me, when I hear a trilogy and I hear the word trilogy, for me it's impossible to select which album is the best because there is a trilogy. When you hear the first albums or double albums from our great bands in the past, it's very difficult because these albums in two ways. But when this album for you is the best work to date, or the three albums are the best work to date, who knows? Because there is a trilogy.
The Illuminant is the best album we put out so far. The best is not a word that we like to use. There is no best or worst within art. It's just different. But if you ask me, the Illuminant is the most mature exposure of our identity, of our sound. This is what we hunt from time to time. This is the main goal we have, to come closer to our identity, from album to album, evolve and dissolve, of course, because we don't want to say much. Not many notes with Lucifer Child, not many words with Lucifer Child. We try to keep it very simple, and from album to album to dissolve this and make it more simple, in order to be able, for someone who listens us, to understand and feel the same things we feel. The Illuminant is an album that is 100% most mature album we've put so far, and the one closest to our identity and what we like to do. You know, this is as far as I can say, musically and lyrically. This is why we believe it's the best album we put so far.
Yeah, it's the best album, and we stay really at our roots. We wanted to do that simpler, like Orthon, Bathory, Hellhammer, or Celtic Frost, like these bands. But so far is, in my opinion too, and I completely agree with George, it's one of the best albums that we ever made.
The most solid work. It took 7 years. We had a lot of struggle to compose. It's not something simple. So each note we have in this album is filtered, and we really hope that this process will be embraced well. It will be well received from the people that will listen to the album.
Oh, okay. I understand about this. Now, so as you can see, talking about other kind of topics, and well, first to pass with the other part of the interview. So, what kind of plans do you have for this, the Illuminant, this for Lucifer Child? Perhaps you were already working in a new album, because 7 years of difference, all the time there is a son that is left for the next albums. Who knows? Who knows? What kind of plans do you have for this upcoming, for the Illuminant, for Lucifer Child? Perhaps you have received some proposals to come to Latin America, Asia. Who knows? Because the Hellenic black metal is one of the best in the world.
This is an honor. Thank you very much for saying this, my brother. We're humbled, and we are humbled to be part of the Greek black metal scene. Our plans start. We are all about working and hard working. Saying this, we start touring from 17th of April, and our tour will keep on until December. We start from summer festivals. We will keep on with a European tour, a headlining European tour, which we will soon announce. And of course, we have plans to visit America, North United States, and of course, Latin America for late this year or next year, mid next year. We will definitely come back in Latin America. We came already twice, and we feel with that like we are playing here in Greece. We never experienced so much open and warm opening and introduction for the band there. So we definitely have plans to come back there, and we already talk and organize a tour for Lucifer Child in many countries in Latin America. So the next 2 years for Lucifer Child are going to be mainly on the road, but we will start, of course, work on new music. This is something that we cannot control. Creation is something that just comes. It's not something that you organize. You say, okay, I sit down and write a song. You just grab the guitar, play, and when it feels right, you keep it and you work on it. So this is how we move. I don't know if we are going to have a new album, the next album out in 7 years. I hope it doesn't have this big gap, but we will definitely try to make the best quality and the best possible album as a next step. We will never rush things just to put out a new album and tour just to play, you know, where we have this ideology, always deliver the best thing we can do, and then we start playing.
Okay. Amazing. So, and as I said, well, talking about other kind of topics and part of this interview. So, as you can see, there's a lot of bands now that are releasing the music independently, so without label. But since the
Mhm.
beginning, Lucifer Childs in 2020, in 2013, and then since we can in 2015, you all the times belongs to or you create music sing with a label. So you just release music with label. The first album was released at the Dark Essence. Now these last two albums with Agonia. But now you are working more than 10 years with a label. And also you have your own studio, George, that all the times working with labels and etc. But
We are
now
here now.
there is a lot of bands that like 50 60 releases per weekend, and mostly all these kind of bands are handled independently, releasing videos by themselves with social media. So as you are working into the music industry and both working in the music industry because you are musicians creating music, so for you, how important is now to have a label compared now with a thousand of releases releasing independently without labels?
I think that nowadays it's not that a big deal having a label because we have all these amazing tools. It's fucking fantastic to have a great record label and have the support as we do have from Agonia, and we feel very thankful for having a great cooperation with our label and being in great working together in great terms and sharing the vision. This is amazing. It's like having an additional member in the band that shares the same mentality and helps you improve and make your dreams come true. But luckily for the bands that that do not wish to release their album with a record label, they want to go independent. It doesn't truly matter anymore, I think, to be with a label or be independent. The only thing that matters a lot is do hard work. Wake up in the morning, start working seriously in the band, practice in the rehearsal room a lot, do your email work because there is a lot of email work. There's a lot of stuff that go under the table that sometimes people cannot see that you need to organize when you go independently, put out a new album, to do a release. You need to work a lot in different stuff. So going independently, I wouldn't say it's bad. It gives you a lot of experience, and it's a very certain step to do for your band. You know what you do. You're in control of things, and you gain a lot of experience and real contact with the scene. Other than signing with a label and don't understand what's going on. You might imagine, oh, I sell this much of records, or you might imagine that, oh, I don't get enough money, or I want less, I want more. And this is sad. When you have expectations of getting rich out of black metal, it's sad. You can't get rich out of black metal. If you want to get rich, I don't know, you stop playing metal, something like that. But uh, if you are aiming to do some hard work, going independent or going with a label, I say it doesn't matter. The mentality matters. Fucking work. That's the only thing that matters.
You have a problems independently with the distribution because if you are touring, you need to have a distributors everywhere on the planet.
You can do it DIY.
Do it DIY, but sometimes there's a big struggle with distributions with the hard copies. I mean, and for us also, is hard copies are we like it a lot
Mhm.
because we are lectors also. So that is a big struggle with independent like, distribution. I think so.
Oh,
But at the end of the day,
mhm.
as George says, it's a hard work for everybody. You can do that independently over the record label. It's the same for me.
Okay, okay, okay. I understand about this. Yeah, but that is true. Right now, we have a lot of tools to work DIY. That's completely normal now. So another topics talking about now especially the now. So when I remember when, because I'm come from the 80s. Remember when when I hear for the first albums from thrash metal or heavy metal in the 80s when I was a child at the moment. That album sounds like organic at that moment. In the 90s, it was the same. You have 30 albums or per in 6 months because there's not much records in the 90s. You have 30 albums, and for the 30 albums, for example, 10 sounds amazing, or the other 20 doesn't or didn't sound amazing because for the production, for the money involved, etc., etc. And now this situation changed completely the topic because now, as you work in the studio, George, now all the sounds, all the records sounds amazing. We have 60 or 50 or 60 releases per weekend, and there is a lot of that is, all these musicians sounds amazing, technically amazing. In the studio, all's perfect. No bad records now. It's impossible to find a bad record now because all records sounds amazing. So, and for this one, so what is your opinion about, guys, about now, especially into the extreme music? There is a lot of the standardization of the sound. All bands sounds amazing. All musicians are in the studio, plays perfect, perfect.
I see where's your point. As a producer, besides a musician, because I always want to help the bands that work with me in the studio, try to give some nice ideas, some nice thoughts, how you can play this riff better, or how you can improve and play better show.
Mhm.
My suggestion here is don't be fake. Play the best possible way you can play in the studio, but the result you put out there must be as much as close to reality. If a band is very well practiced and very well rehearsed, it sounds incredible when I record them. It sounds very tight. It sounds like a machine because nowadays we have with a very nice, a decent equipment without very expensive budget, you can get very clear sound compared to the 80s and 90s workstations that there was more noise, more distortions, and in general lower quality in sound. I mean, I'm talking not lower quality but different and older, so you can listen the truth back in the day with less tools in the process in the computer, but more real. Nowadays it's easier to have a great sound with much editing and have a very very powerful tone, but then you don't see that live, and this is where is the bummer. It's a bummer. You need to, if you make an album that it sounds very solid and very powerful, you need to be able to perform it on stage and play accurately on stage and deliver that. One thing is that. The other thing is that because most of the things you can do it in computer and with plugins and lots of VST and this stuff and these tools, you can easily end up sounding like everybody else. It's very easy, use the same software, same equipment, and you can easily, like, you find no identity. Even like same guitar tones, very similar drum tones, very similar riffing. So you miss the identity, and this is what is missing. You miss, nowadays you make things so nice and so polished, which I dislike, and you miss all these small mistakes, let's say, all these small errors here and there that makes the identity of the sound. You know, when you listen to Once Upon the Cross from this side, or if you listen to Venom, or if you listen to some old Satyricon albums, or even the newest Satyricon, which is not my cup of tea, but I want to end up that it's a real recording with a, they try to make a real sound with a few mistakes here and there, with the good and the bad of the sound, and this result makes the identity. If you start editing and processing yourself and making sound so perfect, then it's gonna be like AI music created thing, which I dislike. For Lucifer's Child, we try to record as best as possible. Man, you cannot imagine how many takes is per song and how hard we try to put that. But also we spend hours in our rehearsal room, and we always try to deliver what we do in the album, we try to do it the best possible way live and without no mistakes. This is very strict. This is how we work, hard work in the studio. So we get on stage and enjoy and headbang, not think if we make a mistake.
Okay, I understand. And please proceed, please proceed.
That's a good delay.
Yeah, but you know, nowadays it's more cheaper to record, but it's more difficult for the bands to understand. Can I do that in a live show?
Yes, you are right.
That is the big question. Because if you have a home studio, you can do anything now with all these tools. But to present that in a show, it's way different.
Yeah, different.
Way different.
Yeah, it was way different. I don't know. So now, well, one of the last questions from this interview is, and to finalize this one. So I remember when all the time I'm just hearing comments about where is we're talking about now for the black metal especially. So I saw all the time when the well-known people or the people who write books talking about the black metal, or when you see a documentary for the black metal, you can see that the black metal for these well-known people or for these study people, it starts with Venom, with King Diamond, with with Merciful Fate, Lizzie B. Borden, and really, I'm hearing the word like them so like them so. And for me, it wasn't the black metal. For me, it started with their album from Battery. That's for me, that's the beginning for the black metal. But for mostly all people, the black metal, even I said a lot, the first wave of the black metal is King Diamond, Venom, Merciful Fate. That is the first wave. But that if you relate the music now how it is the black metal with the 90s, with explosion, with a lot of bands, a lot of styles, is more relative with a Battery created in their third album under the sign of I can remember very well. So under the sign of
Black Mark.
Under the sign of the Black Bar, that's the third album for this one. So in this situation, for me, the black metal started in there. That's the primary album for the black metal. But since your point of view, as you are a black metal musician, for you, when the black metal started, it was with Venom. Just for me, Venom just put it the black metal as Possessed put in the demo. Death metal, but when you hear the music, it's not death metal, it's more like thrash and a mix in etc. But when you hear death metal, it's more like Autopsy, Morbid Angel, Deicide, a different kind of music if you compare with the first demos from Possessed. But now the black metal is the same. If you compare your music, Rotting Cries, or the Scandinavian black metal, etc. If you compare with the first wave, that's first wave of the black metal, it's not black metal. It's like heavy metal with lyrics that speak about Satanism, or some to want to piece off with the Satanism. As you are black metal musicians, when for you exactly started this black metal movement in the world?
That lyrically, Merciful Fate, it's for sure. Venom wants to be more faster band than bands like Motorhead or Black Sabbath, you know, to put darkness in that. It has also punk influences inside. For me, black metal starts with Hawthorne and Bathory, The Return for Darkness and Evil, and after the Under the Sign of the Black Mark. These three albums gives, you know, also lyrically and musically, the genre of the black metal, in my opinion. But, you know, we love Merciful Fate. We love all these bands, but musically for us it's Bathory.
I agree. Yeah, it starts by that time, like when Bathory, and then like around that time with Merciful, Bathory, and it might be like a 4 or 5 year difference, but it starts from the era of these titans, where they started crafting something very dark, with not playing blast beats, you know, or something like that. I'm not talking about Bathory. I'm talking about Merciful and Venom. They were fast, they were extreme, they were noisy, and talked about Satan having pentagrams. These are the first black metal bands. And black metal is not only about speed and blast beat, and it's something else. It's an idea. And these are the titans. These are our fathers.
it's very difficult for us also sometimes because, you know, this late wants to shock the world at the 80s.
Yes.
So to be more aggressive than the other bands, to be more faster than the other bands, to be more blasphemous from the other bands. But, you know, nowadays you see all these things and at the end, music stays. Music stays to that, you know. And we feel sometimes, you know, all these days is for us, give us inspiration to put black metal, you know, from generation to generation.
To transfer the idea.
Okay, okay. Okay, I understand completely. So, well, guys, we arrived to the sad moment of this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. It was a pleasure to talk with you. This last album is a great one. Congratulations on this. I did my pre-order. I
Thank
hope
you,
to
brother.
arrive soon. And perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallirum followers?
To begin with, Metallarium, thank you for having us in your show. Thank you for having us at your webzine, and thank you for your support and kind words. For the Latin America fans and brothers and sisters there, we promise you we will return very soon, and we will have a fucking great time on and off stage, and we are really very much looking forward to come back. Thanks a lot for your support.